Hello, my friends, and I've been on a real kick lately. I've been doing SRW for a while now. I've been doing a lot of RPGs. I've been doing, let's see, 3 SRW games, still ongoing, by the way. A beat 'em up here and there. And the one thing I'm also jumping around with are detective novels. Or rather, a couple of detective games. One being Devil Summoner, the original. Raido Kuzunoha versus the Soulless Army. And then we have Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete, which is not the same as the PS4 version, but it's more like the Steam /Switch /Vita version. And since I hadn't touched this game in a while, or rather the series in a while, I think it's best that we just get on with it, shall we? Turn this up. So this is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. That means this is both games in just like with Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Since I've already done the first game, which is called Adventure, we're going into the second, which is called Resolve. This music doesn't feel like... feels like the... Well, this is one thing you can do. Basically, if you want to use story mode, we can. But where would the fun in that It's supposed to be in Japan. I mean, the character is Japanese, but the entire time he's in English. Okay, fine. So if you've never heard of this, it is basically Yunosuke Naruhodo. So technically, you know, this is right before Phoenix Wright.
Objection! Hold it! I'm sure everyone knows by now who it is. Your testimony completely contradicts the facts.
This feels so...
Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes, there's a clear inconsistency here. I will become a lawyer. I have to. I mean, the defense demands its right to a cross-examination.
I gotta get the feel for the voices. I gotta do this.
Objection!
What?
Objection!
What?
Objection!
They all sound the same. Plus his voice don't match.
Objection!
Objection!
Hold it!
Oh God, no. Good Lord, no. There's also escapades. And there are like 8 of these? That's gonna be extra. For sure. Okay, since I heard the voices, we're going Japanese. English sounds just too samey. That's one thing I do not like about voicing for some games. Like, they all sound the same when it's English. Let's get into it, shall we? I'll turn this up.
こうして目の覚めるような澄み渡った青空の下に立つと、ロンドンでのあの日々がまるで嘘のようでございます。懐かしい異国の大帝都。あの方は、それは立派な弁護士になられました。今もきっと彼女の法廷で勇敢に戦っていると存じます。ご挨拶が遅くなって本当に申し訳ございません。帰国より慌ただしい日が続いたものでございますから。それに一体誰が想像したでしょうか。この国に戻ってからたった2ヶ月。
I find myself faced with another awful crime.
今日はご報告に参りました。明日、私は大審院の法廷に立ちます。一生にただ一度、弁護士として。 このスサトに力を与えてくださいませ。カズマ様。
Episode 1: The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. Part 1. August 13th, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendant's Antechamber. 3. I'm gonna try this, but just in case. Here I am again after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I'm so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Ah, good. Doesn't do for a large meeting. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You caught a fine figure of course. But you look as white as sheets. Those white eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Oh, dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, sir. Eugene Mikotoba, Professor of Medicine at the Imperial Yumei University. A man who earlier in his life traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me? Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Yes, that's right, Miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, this whole thing. Ray Mimbambi, born same year as I, and my greatest friend. Mimbambi? Mimbambi Ray. In short, Mumbi. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory helping my father. Sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial, accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem to have become a little flushed. It's just that... You look so gallant and dashing. Sorry, and when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh, what do you mean, Professor Makotoba? Even if your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, man. It's just that... No, what are you doing? What's going on? Whoa. That varsity uniform, cap, cape, badge. Look at you. You look for all the world like a student after you. Oh,
I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparation has been worthwhile. I woke up 4 this morning to make a search. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see.
It was the only way. The only way she will be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial.
My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated, having been born into this body. Of course, in Japan, our barred women were not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom, despite the fact that laws in the land apply to the people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden? Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Susato, you girls do such things for me. Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. So strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished assistant already, and yet, just because you're a woman. What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and dirty eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, you really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice.
You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man.
I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. You're managing to put on a brave face and all this, but I can see through it. I notice how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. You believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, the murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in your mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side, because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. That means so much to me, Susato.
Defendant, cancel! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
Stand aside! I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast.
Well, Susato, you've certainly surprised your father. Going to such things to be admitted into the courtroom with no prior experience of being a lawyer.
There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this.
Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. The only way if she found out there's no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burn her with it.
And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case is really because of who the victim is.
You should be making a move now. As you know, law is in my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student.
Thank you, Father. I'm Susato Mikotoba, judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that he were here? I wonder.
He is currently in the Imperial... He's part of the dance troupe in soccer. It's okay. The Imperial Review. That's where he is.
Still, I have no choice but to steel myself from the trial ahead. Naruhodo,
August 13th, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 1. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Rei Mimobi.
The prosecution's ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency. We are ready.
Ready?
Yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is in Ryutaro Naruhodo. Is that correct?
Sorry?
Yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this individual. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that's wrong. And counsel?
Yes, that's right. That's me. I mean, yes, I am Ryutaro, he who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan.
We need to consider how better to uphold his manly act force and not for and those wild wide eyes aren't doing you any favors. I just want to
Naruhodo?
Yeah, I see. I see that too.
I first face in this court, if I'm not mistaken. With the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be?
You may be thinking of Yunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. This is
His cousin.
That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, what was called the capital for this trial. I assure you, in the matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers.
Any of them? What a pitiless situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call it a country boy. How dare you, Susato's every bit of gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. Huh? Oh,
Ray!
Oh. Please be careful, Ray. What an unrefined temper we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not. Ugh, I'm so nervous. Now I'm standing in his shoes. I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo is saying. I didn't know guys are monk to flit.
Damn, girl. Maybe you just need a, I don't know, cup of tea. It's like, The case is to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interest. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire.
Just as the trial 9 months ago. And yet for proceedings of such importance we have this unknown yokel by the dock. me. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assist the defense. To determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now. This same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even more, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. Say, Counsel. Sir Counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? It's time to prove myself. Yes, Your Excellency, but please do make them simple. Very well, to start with. You will state the name of the victim. That's simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. What's the matter? Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else. Naruhodo. Sir. Like it or not, mine is want to blink. It's not surprising. It's your first time in this position, and guys. Even a bright spark is bound to flicker and falter in all circumstances. This is a dismal failure. Don't fret. You only need to use the knowledge you have gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about this case in the court record. That's right. Use the right bumper to open the court record. And you only need to flip to people section with right bumper. And don't take too long. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely. Alright, check the court record with the right bumper. That's where the information I need will be. Giselle Britt. What is the name of the victim in this case? Susato Britt. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Britt. Giselle Britt. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And being a member of our Empire Judiciary, you would be aware of the significance of the name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Let me see if I can slow it down just a bit. Okay, we're gonna try that. Why then is her name undeniably associated with our own Empire judicial history? Obviously, you will have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. But if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record.
start of everything. Susato Brett. Behind a woman's student persona was the face of
A killer.
9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Humane University was killed, and the culprit was Giselle Brett.
Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain. And it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He had been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was. Which is why it was a secret trial that was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Humane University was arrested on suspicion of murder. Second-year English language by the name of Yunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, the student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached the verdict.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular judiciary in play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. Why Shanghai?
As a British consular court there. Alright, I oversaw the negotiation virtually. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. But then we made a very serious obligation to see the woman safely on board a sea ship.
And yet, the very day before our departure, the English woman was killed! Only the day before.
That would be. I am satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle.
Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ochi.
As is your wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on August 11th in broad daylight. On the outskirts of the Imperial capital, under a bright blue sky, at a secluded bathing spot by the sea, the incident occurred inside a small beach hut erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung, an injury which proved fatal. There were 2 persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and the accused, Nimbumbi. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when she considers she had a powerful
Damn it. I can't. Hold on. Let me look at this.
Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, Senator.
That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick the prosecution's counsel on what he said.
The bathing spot.
If I may, Prosecutor Olchi?
What do you want, you fresh-faced young Nyoka student?
I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot?
My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that the bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins.
No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea?
For old time's sake, I believe.
Sorry.
Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply.
But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government's unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't have the courage to decline the whims of an
Don't you think me, Professor? It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong.
But in fact, a murder took place.
I said don't agree! 'Twas the youngster girl who did it, not I!
No one has proved that yet.
I wouldn't provoke the matter if you don't need to.
At this stage, I need to gather more information, I think.
So, being alone again.
Mimbami-san?
Yes, what is it?
I mean, Naruhodo-san? I'm starting to wish we made my alias Ryutaro Susato. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the baby spot with the victim in the first place, and why you were alone with her. No, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett, for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all.
But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
No!
Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
Kindly refrain from conjecture, Consul.
The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for nowadays, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let them go.
This is really terrifying. The father's right. We need more information.
That powerful motive.
You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive's a blatant overstatement. Is the little boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon. No matter, let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membami-san, you are research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe. Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikatoba in his laboratory at the moment.
I can confirm that the defendant is an excellent assistant who has a strong sense of responsibility.
And if worded even more better, with a strong sense of justice, she was converted to a fighting super robot.
Fascinating to hear. Now another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikatoba, whose research were you assisting then? I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson?
The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brad 9 months ago.
I think I'll just give him that voice.
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
In the original, his name was Watson. So we're going with Watson, not Wilson.
Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had for the English woman who killed him. Obviously, I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. Powerful hatred. Oh, no way. Be careful what you're saying. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions.
Seeing the murderer of her mentor, for whom she had great respect, enjoying such undeserved liberty.
Yes, if only it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger or resentment.
Poor Ray. So, Your Excellency, if you be so kind to peruse this exhibit, a photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Yes, thank you, Kurtz. Tragic image.
As you can clearly see, it has nowhere within the hut, and anywhere else could have hidden.
The court will accept this photographic print as evidence.
The crime scene photograph.
As I understand it, the victim and the defendants were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger will get firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. Witnesses? But who? One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
Very well then, come to Paying for your weaknesses. I, Taketsuchi Ochi, have been waiting for this moment. Sorry? Oh yes, I haven't forgotten that tried 9 months ago here in this very courthouse, when that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me! Inosuke Naruhodo!
You?
This insult to the Ochi family name will never be forgotten. You've become conceited pages, but they all have to stand aside and make way for a new one. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. It's what now?
How does that even work, sir?
Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died. The start of your own mini Meiji revolution? Are you modernizing as well, Consul? Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. What? Observe the Ochi growth!
Yeah, that's a big Ochi.
You see this seed of hope sprouting forth from the bed of my...
I'm sorry, what? What? I'm sorry, I can't take this shit seriously.
You see the seed of hope sprouting forth from the buried spots of my crown?
I'm sorry, what?
I think that tiny girl was trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't get to see. Where is that home exactly? I said silence! Today, I face another younger student and another Naruhodo clan. I will vanquish you! And my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You'll have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand. It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense each has much to lose. His hair, for one. A haircut's hardly comparable to Ray's life.
I'll say, I'm like, what? These two.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police, New York. In disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. And I am the expecting in books and author renowned throughout the capital. In fact, yes.
Soon to be sold out, I'm the satirical I Am a Cat! A sensational success by Susato Natsume!
Oh my goodness.
Struggling student from the province, please. You needn't be in awe of me.
I needn't.
It's only natural that you feel nervous in my presence. But all of you, please relax. Call me Suski.
Yeah. What on earth is Sasuke doing here?
Tread carefully, Susato. That awful fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? Yeah, Soseki. If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun.
Yes, of course. I know.
I presume Susato have forgotten about me. Myself, I could certainly never forget him. Although he seems to have changed somebody in the 6 months or so. It's been since I left him. And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe.
You have something on my face.
Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you, see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either.
I suppose it's disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. 'Tis my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. I can appreciate why an invader of Betty's bureau detective might have been present. But what business does a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Susato? You see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Electoral Notice.
At Yume University?
After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. The professor over there, in fact.
Professor Niktoba?
Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or two former students who had studied in Greek. Of course, being a renowned actor, the press would never leave me alone. Basically, it's spy! Snapshot! Scammer stories! Escobar, my privacy. As you see, the conversation was heating up in this newspaper. Aided at your leisure, my profile, struggling stood a friend. I have played copies.
Thank you very much. You practically threw the paper at me.
Soseki Natsume article. Soseki! Like every time he's supposed to. Soseki! Anyway, following my interview with the professor, the lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement.
I should have to go with everyone to see your country's cause.
Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my lab under strict surveillance orders.
At which outlets the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance.
It's one of the one of the many games that I've been sent, but I never been touched because of stuff.
And the response was permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanied her.
That detective I am at any particular village was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga.
Thereby the entire party departed cordially for the seaside scenes.
It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so that cough says differently, sir. I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly.
Oh my, Inspector, well, you do have something on your face now. Does that mean you went to the beach too, Father? No, unfortunately I had to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that as my assistant Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, I didn't like to decline the invitation. But only if I had! I never seen an oversight! Relentlessly, backed by remorse and regret! So, Seki! Samurai! Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Wait, let me see. Racked by remorse and regret, I am.
Witness testimony.
Witnessing. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in disguise. I just managed to catch that crab and then I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me. I ran into the beach hut where I found the pair in question. Yes! That young girl was staring the English woman Dagaran, and she stabbed Riley. I saw blood on the blade and proved to me that she stabbed the victim multiple times. That really doesn't say much. Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here are present at the very moment of this heinous crime. What? Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, evidence. Damning evidence. What have you done to so-called family? Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify a killer. What? Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more. Goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately down her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen.
Excuse me.
And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Oh! The owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. Arim. Limbambi. The initials of the defendant? No!
Did you have to hit yourself so hard, girl? This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence.
Have I omitted anything? Besides the testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe the guilt, I fear. Or don't understand the prosecutor. I'll show my mercy. None of this means person.
Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination. Get up, girl. Naruhodo-san!
means... oh, yes, me.
Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom?
There isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom.
Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please.
Alright, let's see this countless times after tradition of the system. Finding inconsistencies in the witness testimony to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle cross-examination. So let's see what I can do.
Dun, dun, dun. So... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Present. Wait.
She was stabbed multiple times. How can you be sure of that? Very simply. From the blood of the blade. The blood?
When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air.
Yes! Yes! That's right! I saw it too!
And I noted that there was blood on the blade already at that point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on the scene.
Yes! Yes! That's right! I saw it too!
Yes, of course you did. And the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain in her hand too. All of which means I can be sure the victim did not die instantly.
Yes! Yes! Right! Saw it too!
Maybe you're in London, Mr. Trent. Sounds like you've forgotten how to speak Japanese. The logic of your argument sounded. Well, as I said, it's my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly.
Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly? That's just my personal opinion, of course.
Counsel, you refrain from mocking the witness. That I got one.
Oh no, I just have so many thoughts rolling around in my head. That's all I can do, just stand here wide-eyed and wait.
Goodness, my dear, you really must try to calm down.
How am I supposed to find a consistency in what these two gentlemen are saying? I don't see why either of them would have any reason to lie.
What you must remember, I think, is that witnesses may inadvertently lie at times. For various reasons, a misunderstanding, a mistaken observation, delusion even.
Delusion.
What's important is that we determine the truth. There's only one sure way to prove it.
Yes, with evidence, of course.
Spoken like a true judicial system. During witness testimony, you can use right button to pick a piece of evidence to present for consideration. But you need to listen carefully to each statement. Compare what's said to the details. If you find some conflicting information, that may be the inconsistency you're looking for.
Yes, it's all about inconsistencies.
But you identify a witness statement that appears to conflict with a piece of evidence. Present the evidence to the witness with why. The way ahead will present itself to you himself.
Yes. Alright then. I'll consider the details of all the evidence in the court record against each statement and find consistency. I'll come on to the task.
Don't forget that you have the witnesses to repeat their statements as many times as you like. Everyone has to start at the beginning, remember. So the white eyes are quite forgiving. And besides, there's no one else to defend the book, though.
You're right.
So about this PM report. That feels so much better.
With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-san and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed.
What's the meaning of that missing person, sir?
I'd like the witness to clarify something for me.
What? Where? When? How?
Not you, Susato. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga. Not me. In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times.
Yes, that's right. As I said when I entered the hut, the defendant was always standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a menaced demon.
And yet, that cannot be.
What? Take that up, please go to.
In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only.
Oh!
In other words, Inspector Hosunaga's testimony is clearly flawed. And Sasuke, you claim to have seen Minami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim.
Yes, I did! Quietly!
But both you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding.
Yes, and...
It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there's no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
True! And what exactly is your contention, Gonzo? Have you ever got no talents?
Yes, Your Excellency, there's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki, in fact, saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but in the moment that the defendant, in fact, withdrew the blade from the victim's body.
Excellent work, Susato. You exploded at them with that objection and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
But where this takes me back? Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in their child 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steer the show.
There were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair.
Sam that! My head is quite adequately dressed!
In any case, though this talk of stabbing and withdrawing in multiple wounds, it makes it not a jot of difference.
What? Why not?
Engage your brain, young man! When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim.
Oh. I didn't have to successfully show with your little display is that the mustached author is prone to moments of extravagance. I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her action to be viewed with suspicion. But if she was withdrawing the blade, then we are back to where we started. Sorry? Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim, and with a demon's cold-blooded composure too? The prosecution demands explanation, and it better be good. Why did Ray pull out the knife?
Ah, yes, going for the jugular.
What is following with it?
Let the court hear your answer, then.
The truth is, I don't know. I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife out of the blade from the victim's body was surely so she could save her life. According to the postmortem report, the victim's death was not instant.
That is correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates a killer.
The point is, being a medical research assistant in Mami-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem this is the best we can expect of this young yokel.
Indeed.
Is it just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here?
Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness.
I would like another opportunity to testify.
In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the Yoko defense counsel to me.
Slipshod? Excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law scenes. But in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Very well, Inspector. I will remit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion.
Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly.
Forensic Medicine Primer. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that maybe medical research assistant with an ounce of sense to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget. But the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. That man murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Watson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor.
Is what you just said true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily?
Yes, think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until the doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed.
Oh, I see.
This is why Yoko should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have some basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it. Well, I never stabbed anything. Pull the blade out. Of course, I didn't bring one to my head with it. Father, is it true what they're telling me? Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways. Then why would Ray have? She had pulled out that knife in full knowledge that it would have been fatal from his point. I don't know. Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. Since it was impossible to couldn't quite friend actually have.
Susato!
Yes?
Pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here. Answer, it is time for your corpse examination.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving to my education immediately afterwards.
I understand. Leaving your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard. I had no idea it would be this hard. You said doing it without thinking it would be a problem. Does that mean that if you use due care and intention, it would be alright?
I wouldn't have thought of it. I wouldn't have thought this needed spinning out much. Blades I could stop and remove it, and a serious hemorrhage would occur. Is that how you spell hemorrhage? Hemorrhage. In other words, a medic would need to be present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Doing it without thinking would be madness. You just can't do it.
Oh, well, thank you for such a thorough explanation. You see, cancer, when you act without thinking, results a bloodbath.
I don't know what this time to do. In that case, there's an obvious explanation here. Even though there's an option to really skip it. Why would you want to skip it? Which is...
Clearly, the defendant, Raymond Bombay, does not possess an ounce of sense.
What do you think about that, Professor Mikotoba? I'm not sure you should be labeling your best friend as lacking common sense.
Well, I thought it would be better than labeling her as a murderer. I don't know, young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it.
I know what you mean.
photograms or a lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing.
Oh dear. They called on me rather badly.
That's life, I'm afraid. Listen, everyone was wrong.
Hopefully you can see now that this is really basic medical knowledge. Being involved in medical research when Bonnie's son would certainly have been aware. But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground, bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently. I really don't think inadvertent actions can explain this. The woman's a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would behave so irrationally. But irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, isn't it?
Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views.
Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take a little too much.
Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? I should cover the medical side of the argument.
Whatever the motive, it just isn't in Mimbami's nature to do something so awful.
But she has both motive and opportunity. That's very close to our purpose.
But you don't know the defendant. And you, Cancer, do not appear to know the law.
Yes, evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument, not feelings.
With his fledgling to defender, I would almost say I pity the accused. So do I.
Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the defendant's motive, please.
Yes, Miss Brett was in many ways the sworn enemy of Mimbami. Well, yes, that's true. Dr. Watson recognized Mimbami's talent and offered her position of assistant despite her being a woman. She was extremely grateful to him.
Yes, the Englishman appears to have been very broad-minded individual. Dr. Watson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Mimbami's abilities.
Clearly the defendant was in man's debt. Clearly the defendant was in man's debt, which only serves to prove my point. This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. I'm withdrawing the knife from the woman would threaten Miss Brett's life further. I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it.
Susato, it's times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals.
The fundamentals?
Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it?
Of course, but I've been through the court record dozens of times already.
I think perhaps you're forgetting something. You need to take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail too. Ah, I realize this is your first time playing the role, Lloyd. If you need reminding of the rudiments, you'll only need to ask. I'll do my very best to help.
Examining evidence in court is an idea, certainly. What should I do?
I know what to do.
Come to think of it, because of his son, Naruhodo are always turning evidence over and over in their heads. Yes, I need to examine things in greater detail.
By the look of your eyes, I
do it straight away. This is the interview with you and Susato. Is it fun? Alex says it was quite an exchange. Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck. I do hope you weren't hurt. Guidance is what I need. I think that might be overdoing slightly, but very well. So open the court record first of all, right now. Now let's take a look at the fountain pen which was submitted as evidence most recently. So to examine it further. Yes, the initials are in. There they are, simply engraved on the barrel. By using the right stick, you can look at a piece of evidence from all angles. You should have a good look at everything to make sure you haven't missed anything. Yes, I will. Just need to rotate the pen with the right angle and watch closely for anything out of the ordinary. Some sort of emblem here, but it isn't a humane university one. It must belong to some other organization, I suppose. This is some kind. The numbers seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Ray. Da-da-da. Checked one side, but I didn't check this side. This is a newspaper from Sasuke's. There's seems to be an important article on the back as well. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from the Humane Medical Research Laboratory. From Humane's Medical Research. Followers like your head?
Let me see. The poison stolen?
This is Mar's paper that Sasuke gave us. Are you saying you didn't know?
As embarrassing as that is for the head of the laboratory, I did. I heard any such thing. How could that reporter glean this information?
Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning this story in our paper this morning, was there?
It's highly toxic poison they've been working on in this Cricket's company. I put Ray in charge of the project.
She was mentioning it?
If what's written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. Moreover, the details were leaked to me.
I don't believe it.
You need to read this article very carefully. That means I did that. One, two, three. Present this.
No, there's one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound.
What?
Ha! Yogi not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor user. Listen, what possibility do you think you find certified?
It's here in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison has been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Humane Union.
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case.
But
Prosecutor Ochi, you will let the defense speak.
But the newspaper article, the court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry.
Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate precisely what the article mentions, affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency!
yes, of course. Thank you. I never would have done something to further endanger this prince's life without just cause. The reason why the defense pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where it says, deadly in tiny quantities. The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with the poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes.
Crap. Knocked my phone over. Are you suggesting that I knocked my phone over? Yes, I did. Did I mean to knock my phone over? No, I did not.
Are you suggesting if the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant Mbami would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. What? This is complete and utter nonsense! Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility. Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage! The word poison appears not nowhere in the document. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold. Oh please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. Poison has nothing whatever to do with this case, as I believe the defendant is well aware. We have no proof that the information is in this wretched newspaper articles all that reliable anyway. In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive. But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She needs to have a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense. Exactly! Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it, your girl? I did suspect that stolen poison was involved. If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What? You can't possibly...
From your expression, Constable, it would appear that those are not in the words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, have no value in our modern justice system. This court demands evidence.
Yes, Your Excellency. I've seen it many times from in places in Ethiopia.
In that case, Constable, we will present the proof to the court. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article? That PM report.
I would ask the court to refer to notes section of the postmortem report which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim. Oh! Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic medicine, I have no idea, so please tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death. Well,
Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies.
if there was extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes. What are you doing, you yokel detective? In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. onset of symptoms occur in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. What? If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupil of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely.
Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt.
Prosecutor Ochi? I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence. Younger student professor!
I believe the defense has clearly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No.
Eugene Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the reports reported in this newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit this, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know. The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any. Do you mean to tell the court that the reports of this death are unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
Listen to the bumbling acting. Unaware of the theft of secret stage research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper.
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father, pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control of your students rather than allowing them on killing sprees. That's totally unfounded. This is Professor Mikatoba's fault. It's all my fault.
Imbomi-san, you stand accuser! A person like this will not be tolerated!
It was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been studied at me. Something new. I've been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was a deal of Professor and Susato who had interviewed together for one of these people. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount of it.
Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had been somehow taken. So I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found it. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was. You don't mean... Yes, of course. It was that dainty English woman.
It's just a
That's why I decided to join in a group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach, I confronted Miss Brett. And she just sat on a stool at the back of a hut, smiling sweetly at me, as if she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison. Whatever did you mean? And then she suddenly got to her feet, before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what just happened.
In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything pass with Brett's lips alive. It's left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her mind. On the blade of the knife in her body.
And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade.
Yes, if only... If the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I know. Really, I'm sorry for staying silent all this time.
Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that cannot be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage of which you have confessed in the end.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom now.
Your Excellency, do not be deceived! The victim just got out before your eyes, you say? Well, Mimbami, if that's the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed.
Well,
You have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim, motivated by revenge.
but you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you?
Oh, I have evidence, and it's very much conclusive.
What's the prosecution consult to? It's proof that he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it.
You have produced the aforementioned evidence of prosecution holds you. Perhaps some praise is due to the stupid. What? I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you practice on yourself.
Damage shot taste. The cruelty in the air and the beach is almost palpable.
This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused murder's nature. It shows the precise moment that Mimbami plunged her dagger into the victim's back. That's not true! No!
I can't believe it.
Order! 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 Counsel for the defense, wasn't you responsible for that sheer scream that just pierced my courtroom? Perhaps his voice has yet to break. He shows a slow mind to nature.
I'll show you slow to mature.
For now, Susato starting to show the face. It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words a year. You have no proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent for the perfect print as evidence.
Had a photograph like that of his in the entire time. It's such a stark image of generally lost for words.
Wait a minute, I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph? That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention.
That's enough absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took the photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony.
I will oppose the defense's demand. The prosecution will review the evidence, the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph of us.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. But you see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the prints unknown. Are we to understand, then, Counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court?
When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. I know that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you?
Silence, you yoker-student blabbering professor! What matters is the bloody truth that this print so eloquently expresses. But the defendant has already admitted pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but the moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings.
Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim, and the scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented. If defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear. Susato, this is a time for you to fight. If what you establish so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that they withdrew the blade from the victim.
Yes, we just need to prove that somehow. You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on a slow train back to the province. And to rue the day you came up against Takatsuchi Oichi in a court of law. If I can't determine who took the photograph, then the trial's going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be someone who knows who took it.
Well, Counsel,
Your Excellency, the burning question is who took that photograph, and the truth is, I don't know. If I give up now, I'll never be able to look Ray in the eye again.
Susato, you need to sell yourself in some of your best arguments.
I'll do my best. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No! You can't force me to... But as you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name. How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe that you could... However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity.
Very well then, Counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the mystery photographer? What is that? The newspaper again? Raucous England Returnita's own.
It's the headline that's relevant. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side.
Ah, yes, indeed. I had already caught my seat as it happens.
Like having a shadow of some kind, presumably from the branches of a tree or the like.
There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university I can assure you.
Now, if you look closely at this photograph,
It's the same there. Good gracious.
yes, exactly the pattern of the lines is present on this photograph too. That tells us nothing. Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely from the branches of a tree. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut in this beach.
What's quite remarkable here is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How can such an extraordinary similarity have transpired?
The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of a camera's defect. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs.
It's a camera obscura, that's what it is.
With the photographic device?
Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched. That the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear. Every print taken with it.
In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera. There must be hundreds of camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one. I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Ochi, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper. That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime.
I see why you are called a raucous England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You've already testified! It's mini more! I tell you, mini more!
Mini memo? Mini memo? Mini memo!
Me
mo? A, I, U, E, O. Tachisutse to.
Sasuke? What was that? Did you say mini mo?
Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. a reporter by the name of Raiten More! Yes, hounding me from dawn to dusk. That ain't what you said. That's secret space. Let's have stupid stories. Stop advice. Privacy. That was him. A capital left of him. No book to write. There I am, stuck in the middle with writing many memo.
Writing many a memo. I see the joke. Writing many a memo. So you're saying that this picture was taken by
many a memo? Yes, my lord, excellency, esquire.
Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for resource in the meantime.
Yes, your excellency. As you say, your excellency.
And one more thing. I want this knife, a murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University Medical Department for the task.
Many memo!
Well, that was shown. Yeah, that was definitely something. And I'm gonna save. That was an auto save, but I'm going to make sure it's dropped in here like so. So, in the next part, we shall continue the trial in the second part of the case. So stay tuned, more of Ace Attorney, The Great Resolve, right after this.